Alright, so here we go. Hello everybody, I'm Isaac, of course, and welcome to a very special video. This being a commentary of Mystery Rises, the very first Doctor Who episode that I've done, and the first Mysterious Doctor episode ever. And I'm not going to be doing this alone, because I got my special guest, my fellow actor and collaborator and best friend, Mr. Daniel Emmett of Dove's Movie Reviews.
Yeah, I am very, very much looking forward to this commentary. It's going to be fun. It's been a while since I've actually watched this, and so yeah, it'll be exciting to kind of go back and talk about our own work and talk about some ideas that we had and what the early process was like. So yeah, looking forward to getting into this.
All right, so here we go. Now, just to give you a heads up, the very first shot was actually added in for the very first time because we're watching the special edition. And yes, it's a bit loud. And yes, so regarding the production about it, the actual production took about 5 years to properly get.
Yeah,
right.
no, there was a lot of different scenes that we filmed, and a lot of different ideas that were tossed around for the Kreig character, which will be shown later in the episode, where one of the ideas was including my character going evil, and there was actually an episode that we filmed, and there was a very rough edit of that I actually saw, and it's very weird now looking at where this character's going, when like the whole idea was Kreig was always going to be like a villain, sort of was always going to be the main villain for seasons ahead and all of that, and it was it's very weird to me kind of seeing that.
With the opening scene here, this was actually refilmed actually because the original wasn't all 100% great, and some of the visuals weren't brilliant. So instead, I decided to go back and did a special edition. And I will say the special edition is actually really good and improves on the original. Actually.
Yeah, no, I prefer the special edition to the original. Like, the original's good for sure, but I think if you want a more like fleshed out and developed episode, I think this episode kind of goes into more specifics on the story and all that. Isaac, so what was your reason for like changing the Kreig character from like going evil to being a good guy and being like your main accomplice and almost like a teacher to him?
Well, the main reason that we changed it for Kreig actually was because there was originally going to be a different companion, Lily Newman, played by Stephanie Horsfall. Well, that didn't happen because of certain things going on. However, it all went down. Well, things went pretty smoothly, and we decided to refilm the first episode and have Kreig as the main companion. And it turned out really well, and I think it did a really good job, actually.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to play a villain.
The shot here with the Doctor and TARDIS, incredible. Oh, here we go, the intro. Yeah, the intro that was done here was done by Isaac Blake, and he did a fantastic job with this intro. Of course, you have the, the names flying out, the cool face of me showing up. It's a really good intro for the special edition, as well as the modern Mysterious Doctor intro. So, yeah. It is pretty beautiful.
Yeah, no, like I really like it because it's sucking you into the episode more, and yeah, I really like that aspect to it.
There it is, Mystery Rises. Oh, here's your first scene. This is it. This is where we first filmed it. Oh, there he is, looking cool as always.
Yeah, no, I really like this. It was fun. It was fun playing Kreig, and this was I think there's a lot of production value here, like this whole forest landscape. I think it really adds for a very nice environment and very nice touch to the episode. Yeah, we actually
filmed that actually outside, just a few miles away from where I usually hang out. And the blue phone that Daniel's holding, that's actually my old phone that I have no idea where the hell it is now, actually. It's a big mystery, actually. And yeah, the reason that I'm wearing short sleeves in this shot, because this was actually filmed in 2021, and yeah, it was boiling hot that day, actually. Yeah, we were basically wearing upon layers and stuff. It was boiling.
Yes, yeah.
We filmed this in the summer, actually.
I know there's a scene coming up where I'm wearing long pants and the exact same jacket, and
we filmed them on different days.
It was on different days, yeah.
Yeah, and some of the lighting was a bit off because, we did this in our spare time, whenever we weren't working or not being bored. Oh, here's another good bit. The Zergs, they were a really cool design, actually. So the mask for the Zergs actually came from Wish. I know it's a terrible thing, but come on, it looked really cool when we actually did them on set. And yeah, the mask, I will say, I was the one who was wearing the Zerg costume the majority of the time. I think I could have actually managed, because if any other actor was going to be in it, they would, would be feeling quite uncomfortable. So I was the one who was, took it all in and did, Zerg stuff.
Yeah,
and this shot was done by Daniel. So.
Yes, yeah, no, I'm very proud of those shots. I think that looked really cool. I think one of the things I really like about my character is how he's like very over the top and very like comedic, and I think it really kind of shows as the season will go along, where my character goes a bit more comedic and has a bit more of a, I guess, dark, humorous side to him and all that. So yeah, that I thought was a really nice little touch to the character. So yeah, as you can tell, this shot, it was very different lighting. It was like he goes from like a dark shot to a light shot.
Yeah, because we filmed the Zerg stuff first before we got to doing the other stuff, and my hair looks so crap. It seriously looks close to Christopher Eccleston's hair. No offense, I love Christopher Eccleston.
And,
though I really should have styled it.
And I believe at that time, from what I can see here, it looks like I was wearing, I think, my Game of Thrones shirt as well. So for Game of Thrones fans out there, a little reference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and some of the shots here were pretty insane, really. Oh, I think this bit was actually funny, though. We did have to edit it in the special edition where there's a bit more lighting where he's being electrocuted. There it is, being electrocuted. Oh, look at that. His jacket was on the floor. Oh, God. And he just left the communicator and the blaster. Oh, now this scene, in my opinion, is the strongest scene ever.
Actually, what happened to the gun? It's left out because it was in the shop before, but now it's not there.
Yeah, that's a bit mistake by my standards.
Yeah, no, I just realised that just then.
Yeah, I think it was because we moved the blaster, I think, when we were filming this bit, when we had to, because we had to switch quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the scene.
Yeah, so I prefer my costume here than the costume at the start. I think one of the issues I do have with this is there is a lot of inconsistency with my character. When he's first introduced, he's wearing shorts. Now in this shot, it goes from shorts quickly to long pants.
Basically, continuity-wise, didn't technically exist when it came to filming.
No, I did not. But I prefer my character's look here. I think he looks much more like a professional, much more like he knows what he's doing. And I think another thing I like about Kreig is like how he's still kind of very new to this, and I think he's still like trying to pick up, get his marbles together on what's going on.
Because seriously, the Doctor's world is just too damn complicated for certain human beings.
Yeah, I forget this. Did we use a tripod for this shot?
Yeah, we did. I think we used one of my special tripods actually to film it.
Right.
And yeah, so basically it was just a 2-guy crew. Myself, the tripod, and Daniel. Basically half the shots were organised by myself. So some of the shots might look a little odd because we used them on a tripod. Because it's kind of interesting directing and acting.
Yeah, no, I think what would have been better here is if it was like, the camera focused on me and then it was going to you. It felt like it would feel more like a back and
it felt
forth.
more natural and just set at this one shot. But
because I know it's very boring as it goes along, and it's also like the audio is not the greatest here either.
I did have to do my very best to actually edit the audio as best I could for the special edition, which we are seeing now.
No, I have audio problems as well, so I can understand it.
Yeah, a lot of new shots were also included to freshen up. Like this shot here with the TV, that was filmed somewhere, I believe, downstairs, because we originally had some binoculars, so I had to reorganize that. And yes, there is the Zergs looking brilliant with their costumes and their very panto hands. And yes, I did do ADR for the Zergs in post-production, yeah. All mine.
How did you actually get their voice?
I think I used like a editing software, because I pretty much cut this with Final Cut Pro. And what we did was there was this really cool sound effect called Alien, I think. And it reminds me way too much of the Silurians from Doctor Who and the Silurians, the original Silurians. Oh, now this is where funny blooper reel is going to be coming up. Basically, I'm not wearing a shirt, so you see my nipple. So I have to cover it up quick. That's the greatest flub in all things in history.
I'd never noticed that before. But now that you've stated it, I would never be able to unsee that, so thank you.
Yeah, and of course what we're seeing is our surprise villain, actually, the Supreme Commander. Yes, so just to let you know, the Daleks in this are all action figures. Yeah, they're literally all the character options figures that I have actually in my collection. And the Dalek that you're seeing here is actually from the Jungles of Mechanist set, which is actually based off the Peter Cushing movie Daleks. So yeah, you get to see that in full. So what I wanted to do was avoid stock footage, which Ewan Hoyle, my good friend who was responsible for the universe that I'm a part of, and basically I wanted to do more practical effects to make it feel a bit more real life and live action and not all fake. In fact, the TARDIS that you're about to see here is actually practical. We actually used an actual miniature TARDIS to actually use it. And I really liked it. It is still quite funny, actually, to say the least. Oh.
I love my line there. I love it. It was such a fun line to do. I've always wanted to do comedy, and I think this was a good chance to kind of have a comedic moment every now and then. And yeah, like as I kind of said before, like I think as series goes along, I think it gets a little bit more. Like silly. My character kind of is like unsure, especially when he's going back in time and all of that. So I think it's very exciting.
Also, I will say with the Mysterious Doctor's TARDIS console, sure it's a green screen effect, but the model actually does exist. It's actually a built model I did for like a school project.
I'm gonna be honest, like I've seen a whole green screen in my life, and that does not look too bad.
Yeah, because the actual model we used was actually a built model. In fact, the model of the TARDIS for Mysterious still actually exists. It's still in mint condition with just a few minor changes, and I like what we did here with it. Now, this is absolutely funny. So
I remember filming this. How I'm just criticizing everything, and then like once you get to a costume I like, it's like and it's like a switch and bait there.
No, I think
bait and switches.
Yeah, the with the whole changing my costume was actually inspired by Time in the Rani when the Seventh Doctor, my personal favorite Doctor, goes through a bunch of clothes to see which ones worked. So yeah, I did it something similar to like that. So first I would use a safari hat, a fez, and the next one that you see is me trying on a classic Doctor.
Yes, that's the shot I love, because I'm like, yes, and then you're like...
It didn't work, because it'd be too boring.
Yeah.
And then there's actually one for Ewan's Doctor Who series fans would notice, is I'm dressing up as the Victorian Doctor, played by Logan Manville. So yeah, I actually have a similar costume to what Logan Manville has with his Doctor. And the background, of course, was just, one I did on Photo Leap or something. It kind of looks crap, but hey, that's the slight charm to it. Wait for it. And yes, the costume that you see here is the well-known, beloved Mysterious Doctor costume that most people are familiar with.
I love that, it's cool.
I think it's my personal favourite costume. Sure, I love my other looks, but this was the one that started it all. With the fedora, the cool checkered shirt, the standard coat and pants. It looks really good. It's just a great scene, obviously. And with a lot of it, obviously, half the script was completely improvised. Sure, I did write a full script for it, but some of it I had to improvise a little bit to just be sure if it actually worked, to say at least, because Daniel did do a lot of his lines himself, actually. He did quite a bit of improvisation.
Yeah, no, that's what was exciting about this, is because I felt that it was, like, a lot of the comedy was improvised.
Yeah. And yes, sure, the visuals, of course, aren't too appealing, but hey, it's actually good. And the TARDIS model that you're seeing here, in the original, it was the First Doctor's TARDIS. In the special edition, it is the First Doctor's TARDIS, but it had a David Bradley figure in it. And it looked really good, and I thought it worked well for the Mysterious Doctor Ventures.
Yeah.
the bars in it. Well, to be fair, that's actually true. The 10th Doctor's TARDIS did have, like, railings and bars, for people to hold on to.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah. I really like how my doctor just, is like, we'll talk about this stuff later. I'll explain later.
Then you never bring it up again.
That's what they did in Classic Who, actually. Yeah. They said, I'll explain later.
And then you just never talk about it.
That's the funny thing about it. And there's you with your blue shorts again.
Yes.
The constant thingy.
The constant change there, yeah.
Yeah, I think with some of the shots here, with you with the blue shorts, these ones here, they're a lot more brighter. These were the last things we filmed for the proper live action episode. These were the last bits of filming that we had to catch up on.
This, I believe, was the last scene we filmed.
Yeah, actually, I think it was the very, very final scene where I accepted you as a companion. That was the final one, actually. Though we did this in the spare time.
I thought we had to reshoot this scene a few times.
I think so. I'm not sure. Oh, probably. Yes, I'm even holding the third Doctor Sonic. I don't know why I chose that Sonic for my Doctor, but it just looks really cool with the cool lighting. And yeah, this shot here, that's new for the special edition. So I did add some additional material.
Where's that filmed?
That's actually filmed where in the green screen room, actually. And I had to use, like, old keyboard, microphone. And yes, in fact, in the original... when I'm, talking to Zergs and, using a microphone and all that, how I just used, like, a texter or something hanging up on a wire. We used an actual microphone for the refilmed sequence, actually. And yes, I even brought back the psychic paper, which was just a random old wallet which I had lying around. Yeah. Oh, the terrible ADR is going to come in, and there's a good reason why I had to ADR this bit.
What's the terrible ADR?
This one. There was a reason why I had to do ADR for that one, because the volume didn't go all that well when I did it solo. Yeah. So I had to redo that one. And yes, you can even see my terrible mustache I was growing at the time.
Oh, yes.
In fact, when you see the newer footage with me when I'm talking to Supreme Commander, the mustache is completely gone, because I used to have it, but I decided not to have it anymore because it kind of looked rubbish. Yeah, so... yeah, a lot of the shots here were just... we had to find decent spaces around the house or something without trying to show too much, but trying to make it as simple as best as possible. Oh, he's going to do it.
There we go.
He just had to bring it up.
I hope you bring that back. That's actually funny in this.
I'm hoping to do that for, like, a live-action special or a live-action prequel, which I'm thinking of doing, actually. Oh, I think we're getting up to the big reveal of, the big Dalek reveal. And yes, and when I said I wanted to use more practical instead of stock footage, well, there you go, people. The Supreme Commander is actually a toy Dalek. It's not great, but hell, at least we gave it a try. We at least did something fun with it. So that's the good thing. I wanted to stick with practical and not, stock footage, because it would cringe so hard.
I love this shot. This shot was so much fun to do.
Oh.
It was like, I tried to kind of have like a possession, almost look to myself, and it kind of make it look like the, the force field was
like... force field was trapping you inside.
Yeah, it was like kind of like, controlling my body. I wanted to have that type of effect to it, like it was stopping me, and then... it was trapping me, and I was trying to bang my way out of it.
Wait, the mustache is going to go away once you see the new bits. And yes, the Dalek voices for the Supreme Commander here had to be changed, because when we originally did them in the original, they didn't sound that menacing. But I wanted the Supreme Commander to be more menacing and horrifying. Oh, and my mustache is gone! And yes, that's me with my costume looking beautiful as always. And yes, this is some of the newer footage I added in, to give it a bit more of a... more confrontational, instead of just me bouncing back and forth, but giving a bit more of a confrontation. And also, the original music was way too low for it to be heard, and it was just felt like complete silence. So instead I had to add some new music to this sequence in order for it to actually be, a bit more exciting, a bit more chilling.
Yeah.
And yes, all that was improvised by myself. In fact, some of the newer dialogue that I had to include was all improvised, and also I had to use... yes, sometimes I have my own script in my head, and sometimes things might go a bit too complex, to say the least, for some people. Oh, this bit's going to be insane. And this is regarding the Zerg costume. Yeah. Yes, because in the original Zerg costume, I was just wearing no shirt underneath. But when I did him for the future, I think when I did the new reshoot, I decided to have like a special, long sleeve shirt underneath, so that, it didn't look all that bad and didn't look jarring.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, so basically, I was going to originally do stop motion for the Daleks, for these Daleks, so they didn't look all cringy and all wobbly and all that, but it got too damn complex for me to, because if I just used a still image, it wouldn't be, intriguing. Oh, insert the stock footage. See, yeah, there was one scene I wanted to do, but I had to cut it, and thought was too difficult was having a line of Daleks, coming forward, similar to how they're being manufactured and produced. So instead I said, like, screw it, let's just get some footage from Power of the Daleks, some missing footage from Power of the Daleks to work. It doesn't look 100% brilliant, but hey, it was the best that I could do, and, just to come up. So, yeah, and some newer footage is just about to come up. And yes, cue in the green screen Daleks. Oh, no, this bit's actually fun. And yes, I wanted to incorporate my Doctor a little bit with a bit of Troughton in the mix to give him a bit of a yo-yo. So yeah, I actually really like this bit. And yeah, the green screen might look a little off because I was originally going to film it in like the same area, but decided to just green screen it anyway. Don't know why I chose to do it like that, but hey, at least we got something interesting. Oh, and the next bit that you'll see is actually a really good shot, actually, that was a mixture of green screen and practicality and some laser effects. Of course, with the laser effects, there it is. Amazing. And the laser effects actually were done by Ewan Hoyle himself. And he also did the regeneration sequence to get the lighting for that. And it worked really well.
Nice.
Yeah. And yes, this scene was done way much more better here than in the original, because there was a lot more going on. And yes, there was originally going to be a big battle with the Zergs and the Daleks in the original, but we couldn't get to that, and it looks very sloppy. But in this version, we finally got that. And yes, we used green screen and actual practicality, and it looked really good. And yeah, the visuals with the Dalek blasters done by Ewan looked really good. And yes, we used both... I think the Daleks that we used in these shots were the original Dead Planet Daleks and the Death to the Daleks figures. And they looked really good, actually. And yes, a lot of these fun scenes were fun. And the grenade here, that's actually just a plushy football, actually, that we used to work. I don't know why we chose it, but it just looked, looked close enough to the real deal. And I think with some of the Dalek voices, I did a bit of Roy Skelton's Dalek voice, because I thought those were the best Dalek voices to match with the 70s Daleks that I had in my, wardrobe. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, don't know what else to say regarding the special edition because seriously, I've seen this episode multiple times, and...
Yeah, I do think it's much better than the original. I think it's... I don't know, that, the whole fight scene between the Daleks and Zergs, I thought that was a really cool fight. I've actually never seen that scene before, so...
I think it actually does work, actually.
It does.
Even if it's not super brilliant and it just has a bit of green screen and me actually filming on location, but I think it actually works in a lot of ways, actually. And I think this scene here, I wanted to have a bit more of excitement because in the original there was barely any explanation on how the explosion of the building that was taking place in the mix. So instead, what I had to do was actually,
Where is Kreig at this time, actually?
Kreig's actually kidnapped by the Dalek. He's, still with the shield, actually.
Okay.
So the Doctor's summoning up the self-destruct here. So, yeah. And yeah, I really should have had a good warm... Yeah, so we had to change the colouring to red. And that's why the alarm is also signifying that, it's going to explode very soon. There he is. The Doctor had to get back to Kreig, who's trapped there. And yes, I think the music here, which I believe is the 12th Doctor theme, actually works better actually, for a more heroic feel of the Doctor saving Kreig.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
It does, very much.
And the big explosion also felt very disappointing and underwhelming in the original. So I had to go back on it and redo it. This explosion's coming. This is it. Yeah, that explosion, I will admit, is much better.
The way I hit the ground in that, because I kind of actually threw myself to the ground. That, from memory, it actually hurt a lot. Because I was also wearing shorts at that time, so it was when I actually made contact with the grass, that actually hurt a lot.
So long story short, when you're doing stunts, try to wear long pants
that's the one we're going to do out of this scene. Is I think I would have been able to do a lot more with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Now we're up to some good old green screen with the Zergs. Now, this bit I actually filmed on my own, actually, in the green screen room, because if I went out there on that hot day actually doing it, then obviously I'd be worn out and sweating it completely by that point. And yes, there were actually flies on set when we were trying to, do this really good scene. So if you could spot them really carefully, there were quite a number of flies, Australian flies, coming around. And the spaceship shot here, the original, felt very, very lackluster.
Yeah, I think one of the problems of the ending is you really can't hear what I must say right here.
Yeah, and yes, you can even spot some of the flies. That even on Daniel's jacket. Actually, I think there's one. There's also a few that were on my jacket. So when I did my moving of the hand, that was because to seeing the fly to get rid of a fly. That was Damn those pesky flies trying to ruin a good moment. And yes, it was also very windy that day. So god damn you, wind, for ruining a good scene.
The audio doesn't sound the greatest.
Yeah. I will admit, that's the one thing that we weren't sure about, quality control regarding audio at that time. But hell, if you can have very good ears, you can still hear it as a great sequence.
Yes. Yeah, this is definitely probably my favourite scene, out of the entire film, just because, it really sets up everything going forward.
Yes, and the adventure continues.
Yeah, I think
obviously,
it's a very
we got,
nice
two...
moment.
Obviously, at the moment, we've had 2 audio dramas with Bushrangers and Steel Soldiers, and we've got 4 more upcoming episodes.
Isaac, you should have had a post-credit scene hinting at episode 2. That would have been cool.
I think it was because we didn't know what episode 2 was going to be, actually.
Yeah.
That wasn't until I decided to say, hey, let's have the Bushrangers as the second episode. And yeah, it went really well. And yeah, so basically this is the commentary of Mystery Rises, the very first Doctor Who Mysterious Doctor Adventures episode. I hope you enjoyed the video, and do be sure to check out Dove's Movie Reviews' channel, because his film Stalker Part 3 is coming out, or Beginning at the End, or whatever the heck it is. And yeah,
Beginning of the End Part 1.
Yeah, pretty much. So thank you very much for all coming along to hearing this brilliant commentary of us two talking about a really exciting episode. And we hope to see you guys in the next video. So until then, this is Isaac, signing off.